and welcome to our next episode of Building Greener Businesses Season 2. And today we have Annabelle, my co-cook in the Christmas.
Thank you for having us here. I'm
you.
very happy to be sharing this episode with you.
Thank you so much for coming. And this is all about how you can make a business greener. So we've been talking to companies about how they're building their businesses to become new practices, new things, anything that you can do to become more environmentally aware and sustainable. But I think that if there was anything better that I wanted to chat with you to see how companies are getting involved with this. So first of all, explain to me how long you've been working at the Gibraltar Horticultural Society or volunteering and...
Yes, well, I started about 7 years ago, I think. And initially when I started at the Gibraltar Horticultural Society, it was a very small organization with a few members. And slowly, with the help of Maurice Gasher, who was the chairman at the time, and we started expanding the services that we did, not just the flower shows at Christmas and springtime, but we started doing more talks. And we introduced workshops, which I learned how to do flower arranging. Now I was able to do workshops for that, which I still do to this day, and because it's something that I find very enjoyable.
So how long has the Gibraltar Horticultural Society been around?
Okay, that is a very long time, over 70 years. It was founded in 1953 and by the governor's wife at the time, and it's been going ever since. So there's always been a spring flower show except for the COVID years.
Yeah.
So that is something that is very close to my heart. I would not like to ever see the spring flower show go because it's part of our cultural year, so to speak.
Right. Oh, that's brilliant. And I can imagine that we started O2 around 6-7 years ago, really more or less like that. And I've noticed a huge difference between how companies are shifting towards more sustainable practices. Have you noticed something like that too?
Definitely. And even just walking down Main Street, going through casemates, Europort, I have seen so many changes. I see that the businesses are putting more green areas or green plants in their businesses and outside, like restaurants. I'm sure that everybody has noticed that kind of. So I also noticed how the government has increased the greenery and how Gibraltar is looking, which is a fabulous addition to Gibraltar and so important.
I'm seeing them actually around Cathedral area and through town. Not just recently. There's really nice.
Yes.
It's like a nice burst of colour.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's lovely. It's lovely to see, and it just shows the initiatives I think that people need to make. We sometimes think, cities as concrete jungles and at the beginning people were like, oh, it's a concrete jungle. They're saying as a bit of a positive, I guess, but now it seems as if it's a bit of a negative.
Absolutely.
In that sense. So, and like constructions and companies in that sort of way, do you see that change as well in that mindset?
I think so. Recently we've launched the Urban Oasis Award, and that we have collaborated with the Gibraltar Sustainable Building Group, which is made up of lots of different architect companies, a representative from them, and we've been working very closely with them, and I can see that they themselves, they want to change how Gibraltar looks because it is important. About greening Gibraltar, it's not only about making Gibraltar beautiful, of course, absolutely, big number one thing that it's important, but the most important thing is that we need it. We need green infrastructure because we, you, me, our children, our future children, the grandchildren, all the generations that are to come, we need to make Gibraltar sustainable for the future. And that includes a green infrastructure. So anybody living, whether you're an employer, an employee, you will want to make Gibraltar as better as you can, because we want it to be a healthy place to live.
And that's the thing, no? It's not just looking pretty, it's not just seeing the aesthetics of stuff, it's actually the health that comes, the biodiversity that comes with it. I think it's everything, no? I can imagine that you know a lot more about this than I do in that way, no? So
I think you know quite a lot.
Plantita y cositas así. I wish I knew more. La verdad, it's all about learning, no?
Yeah.
I guess. But with biodiversity, do you see an increase in it? Are you involved in that sort of way as well?
Yes, not directly involved, but obviously the more green areas you have, the more trees, more green areas you have, you're attracting more birds. that are making long journeys across the straits. The insects, very important. You will need to have insects, pollinators. All those are very important to green areas because it's the way that nature works. If you don't have the pollinators, you don't have the birds. You're already coming across a very big stumbling block about developing the green areas. So yes, all those things are important. And we need to connect back to nature as people, as Homo sapiens. We need to find that pathway that leads us back to where we come from, because it's important. You can't just be surrounded by grey walls. First, because there is a lot of negative things that happens to our bodies if we did, but also because we need to connect to nature for our mental well-being, for our physical well-being.
Yeah. So talking about that, actually, before the end of the year, you finished a really cool project, or maybe you launched it, right? Which was the greenery and the rewilding.
Oh yes, the mini urban forest. That was very exciting.
Tell me about
Well, that was a very important project because it was the first pilot of its kind here in Gibraltar, which was a mini urban forest. So after a lot of negotiations with government and all the legislation and of everything we had to go through, but we got volunteers from across the companies and individuals and just families coming to plant trees. So we managed to get that, and now what we have is a core group of tree keepers, we call them, and they basically go down there once a week or every 2 weeks and just make sure that everything's looking well. And
the lampwood area.
That's right, yes. It's a lampwood area. It's still a work in progress, so please, if you go down there, it hasn't been finished. I mean, we are having 2 tree trunks that are dead that are going to be beautifully carved. I mean, I've seen the designs and they are super amazing. One of them will have a nice Barbary ape at the top, intertwined with leaves, beautiful design, and the other one is like a beautiful bird coming in from, like if it was coming in from the sky, and then it's coming in, and everything is
And is that done by a local artist, or is it from?
No, this is an artist that's worked in Gibraltar before with the Alameda Botanic Gardens. So he's coming to do the works in those tree trunks, and we're very excited about that as well. And also there's going to be a picnic area with a beautiful mosaic benches for people to sit, have their lunch, and yes, it's a work in progress. So we are getting there.
So how long do you envisage this to be? I mean, I'm guessing talking to people that have done, these urban forests before and everything else. So if somebody was to go now and think, the trees are not fully grown, how long do you think that people will noticing some differences in that area?
Well, at the moment you will already have noticed from what it was to what it is. Obviously you have a pathway that you can walk around. Obviously the saplings are growing, and we're very pleased to say that obviously all this beautiful rain has actually it's a benefit. And hopefully, I mean, from other mini urban forests that have been planted in other parts of the world, it takes about 3 to 4 years to more or less have a decent size growth in those saplings.
And what benefit are you seeing in that area when these things start flourishing?
Okay, like in any green area, in any place that you plant trees, it's all about trying to sequester carbon dioxide from the air. Obviously a very busy main road there. It's about noise levels, and it's about temperature. And obviously the pollinators and the insects all come in with that as well.
Biodiversity,
Yes.
So are you doing studies in the area?
Yes, so the University of Gibraltar is actually taking figures about all this different, about the heat element, the carbon dioxide, biodiversity, the growth, the soil samples as well have been taken.
Wow.
So there is a lot. Obviously these are long-term projects, so data collection will go on for many years. And then after, I don't know how many years, but possibly 10 years, you will actually, hopefully, see a big improvement in the quality of the soil and everything else.
I mean, I think that there's no negatives to this. I mean, I don't see any personally. Maybe I'm very biased in this way, because I genuinely believe that this is good for our future generations. And, as a parent, as a member of the community, you just want to have something that you're going to leave in a better state.
Absolutely.
So all these studies are obviously really important to have, because, you need to have that data behind you, that data collection. But you know, we know that it's worked in other areas, you know, we've done the research and it's all in a positive way. So what other projects have you been doing?
Well, we're involved in many things. I mean, I'm sure that you know that obviously one of them, which is a very important one, which we are doing with O2, and it's green bus shelters and the greening of all the roofs in the buses. We have already collaborated with a lot of companies. We are just waiting for the last bit of
see the building controls.
Yes, the building controls to come through, but apart from that, it's all looking very positive, and it will actually enhance Gibraltar so much.
I think so. It's all about greenery. It's small differences, right? Make big changes, and it's all that, no? It's, I think that how many bus stops did we say that there was? I think
about 80 or something. Yes, there's a lot of bus stops. I mean, but if we can start on some, I mean, I think that's a big positive. Like one of the bus stops is the one in at the airport, a very insignificant one because of the amount of tourists coming through that area. And I think that every green area we can provide within our environment is going to be a very big positive thing to do in Gibraltar.
Yeah, I mean, I think that any company that is interested in helping out with the environment, I mean, we're all talking about, you know, carbon sequestration, and we're talking about carbon capture and all of these things that we need to do, right? And the carbon and company's carbon footprint. How would a company that's interested in lowering the carbon footprint, how could they get involved with the Gibraltar Horticultural Society and it be beneficial to them in that way?
Well, I always say that the way that they can do it is obviously from a point of a company, and they need to look at their own practices within the workplaces, like sustainability. When a company looks at sustainability, they think about recycling. That is a very important element in our society, and I think something that we need to be encouraging as many people as possible. Obviously, education comes into it, as well as practices to do with electricity and power. Obviously, very important element in Gibraltar, where obviously electricity is an important element, an expensive element as well in our society. But as well, green infrastructure is looking about the future, and also that it creates. If you green your offices, it provides a wellness to its staff. If you put a plant and people are looking after the plant, every time they pass by, they have a conversation as well. Oh, look at the plant, it's just got a bulb coming out, or it's got a flower coming out. You know, it's a nice thing to have, and as well that it creates a very soothing area for people to work with. And it is something that we are seeing more and more often in other countries, where a lot of businesses are putting a lot of plants in workplaces, shared workplaces, to make that environment more enticing for their employees.
So would it be something, because we've been talking about the calculation of noise pollution and the carbon sequestration and stuff, would these calculations, for example, for the green roofs, or for example, if a company was wanting to get involved in the urban oasis, is more of the beautifying, no?
Yes.
Tell me a bit more about the urban oasis.
Okay, so the Urban Oasis Award is, like I said before, it's in collaboration with the GSBG, and it's open to everybody, whether you're an individual who has a house and you green up the outside of your doorway, and we want you to sign up. Whether you're a company and you've green up the outside of your offices, sign up. You never know. I mean, the judges will be going around and deciding what are the merits of each entry. And yes, sign up. I mean, you don't lose anything. It's good for us to actually see, and if you ever need help, we are always there to help any company that needs a bit of advice. And because this is what we want to see. We want to see people getting enthusiastic about greening their areas. Yes.
Oh, that's lovely. That's really nice. I mean, it is about that. You know, I think that it's got a lot to do. If you go completely with concretes and everything else, it seems very, very cold. Very, you know, you always go to places and you admire when they've got a lovely plant there and they've got some nice greenery. So, so if we were to have a conversation in the next 5 years, what would you want to what would you want to see in the next 5 years? Let's just say, what would be your goal to say, mira, lo hicimos, it's happening, you know?
Well, for us, the GHS have a very important project with it, which is a GHS hub and community gardens. It's a big project in terms of our society, and it's basically seeing allotments in that particular space. But I would like to see other estates having allotments so that the elderly, the young people, school children, anybody who would want to put their hands in dirt and maybe have that kind of a hobby, they're able to. Unfortunately, so many people live in high-rise buildings, so many people live in very limited accommodation, that it'd be nice that people have that option, you know.
Yeah, I think that would be lovely.
Yes,
Government estates and everything else with just some allotments, some areas that people can just, you know, create like the garden community hub there.
Yes,
you
that's
know?
right. It's a socializing thing. I mean, to bring a project in mind, in Barrowbeg there is a building, there's a block, and one of the blocks in Barrowbeg that is such, I'm sure you've seen it, because you can't but help being, I went in there to actually do some recording, and I felt, honestly, this is such a beautiful thing what these neighbors have done, because they've all come together to create a beautiful area for their neighbors. I mean, it is something that one person has put a pot, another person has bought another 2 pots, somebody looks after them, you know, they have come together as a community. And this is the beauty of things, that gardening is about community, it's about bonding, it's about people coming together, whether it's in a workspace, whether it's in an estate, it's about people having shared interests, you know. And in that block, when I went to visit it, it was a very quiet time, but I did talk to some of the neighbors, the elderly neighbors who had benches outside. I sat with them, spoke to them, and I said, what has this brought to you? And they did say how much it's brought to them, because they some of them weren't mobile enough to go out and walking or anything, so they sat outside and they were able to converse with other neighbors. They were able to talk about the flowers that they had growing around them, you know. It was beautiful.
And the differences in seasons that they must notice within the plants and stuff.
Yes.
That's a conversation in itself.
Yes, and also get people out. People who are living alone, there's so many benefits. I mean, it's like I said, it's not only about beauty, it's about community. And at the end of the day, what is more beautiful than having a community united, shared, and have shared goals and coming together as together, you know, and looking at making Gibraltar better for everybody.
Brilliant. So, if anybody was to want to get in contact with you, any companies or any person that wants to get in contact with the Gibraltar Horticultural Society and get involved, maybe as a volunteer or maybe as a sponsor or maybe as any other, how could they do that?
Well, we've got a website, so it's www.gibraltarhorticulturesociety.com, and once you get in, there's like 2 little ticks at the very top. You hit it, and there you have a drop-down menu which gets get involved. So if you join up and register, when there is a community event that we ask volunteers to come in, we will contact you and you get an email, and then if you can make it, you make it. If you cannot, well, you'll be another time. There's other things that we do. We do talks, very interesting. For members, they are free, and a minimal price for non-members, because we want to encourage people to come along and listen to very, very interesting talks. And walks, we do walks around Gibraltar, explaining about the different plants and uniqueness of some areas of Gibraltar, which a lot of people might not know. Obviously, we've got the spring flower show, the Christmas flower show.
So they'll be involved in everything.
In lots and lots of things. But if you want, you can subscribe to our newsletter. It's free, and you will be up to date with everything that's happening.
Awesome stuff. Well, Annabelle, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
And thank you guys for joining. We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye. Bye.